Hello, I wanted to post a video. In inspiration of what happened today, because I'll let you know. I'll give you a little bit of a story that leads up to it. So, 3 weeks ago, a meeting happened on Monday. But before that, at least a couple of days before that, I was told to leave with grace. So I'm pretty spiritual. I listen to advice that's given to me. I've been getting better at making the right choices and just going with the flow of things, and it's definitely showing in my interactions with people. And I'm having more positive interactions with people lately. So I've got a I got a job. So then, and it was with a company, it was for like a local delivery, and delivering food product using a refrigerator van. uh the only downside is that I was going to be held to the same standards as everyone. So being that, you know female bodied people have a little bit more of a limitation when it comes to like physical strength, even with proper technique, sometimes it's just really hard to get a dolly, or as they say, wheeler, upstairs. And those stairs will get you, especially if you got the little lip before the door and you gotta hop it over the lip. So, all right, so here's the story. I did, I talked to like the supervisor type person, explain what's going on. I get to keep my job for a little while. This is the third weekend. Today's a Friday. And then it was decided that I would be let go. I knew this job was going to be short lived. I needed the money to help, you know, bring things together. Um, but it happened for a reason. And then everything goes back to a video. Well, I'm tying it to the video that my friend did just recently. She posted it today, so today would be Friday. She just posted it, and she titled the video, it's like, "Do you know God?" And the thing is like, you can tell who doesn't know God by the way they treat people, by how much on the surface, they do things. It's when you're growing closer to a divine being who's who helps oversee the entire universe, the most high position, and you have to go inward because, as my friend said, this world is a reflection. So everything here is just a reflection of what's here. So when you see all these people striving for things out there, big houses, big cars, wealth, fame, fortune, whatever name they use, whatever buzzword, and all these things that people fight for, all the conflict, the accusations, the negativity, everything, every person we meet is not inherently separate from ourselves, because everything is a projection and a reflection. And so it makes no sense to hurt other people. It makes no sense to hurt yourself. But the thing that was triggered today when I was let go from my job was the deep feeling of rejection. And if you looked at the thumbnail of the video and you saw the person that was that I featured there, I've identified where the bulk of my rejection came from. And as the person that I was back then, I had a lot of baggage, so that we'll keep it simple. I had a lot of baggage, and it was because of my upbringing. It's kind of similar to this life, except without the physical abuse. There's just a little bit of emotional abuse here and there, and just feeling as though like my existence doesn't matter. So I get to looking at things, and I felt as though my existence is unimportant. But then I also identified other feelings that kind of tied into that. So it's like I felt rejected as a child, felt abandoned, I felt unworthy, undeserving. And then that became the reel that kept playing here. So I kept experiencing things that reflected what was in here, because that was how I responded to the way people treated me. So, Beethoven had an abusive father, and I know him pretty well. I don't know absolutely everything about him, but I have a good sense of the different lifetimes we shared together, because my friend Alora did an Akashic reading for me. And the first 5 lifetimes, he was my father. The fifth lifetime that she was able to channel into was when things really changed. And I don't know why they changed. That's the thing. Because the life before, he passed in a boating accident. Well, because he was a fisherman. And this was in, BCE, before Common Era. So, living in Mesopotamia, I lost a father to a fishing accident. And things just changed. Because I somehow changed. So it's almost like your vibration creates situations in your life. So you have to be aware of that. And in that awareness, you're able to exercise choices. So I recognized him being the same kind of person that he was when he was a king. So my dad was a king, and he was a very famous one, a very long-lived one, overstayed his welcome, was not as great of an administrator as he thought he was, but he had this very lofty self-image. And I think what really changed him was the upbringing, the indoctrination, the grooming, the programming. So he became, this big inflated ego, but a lot of it was rooted in brutality. So I thought it was very interesting that in my life as Beethoven, he came back as very much the same person. And this is bizarre, because this is why you got to remember your past lives if you want to be able to wake up. But in order to access past life information, you got to know who you really are deep inside. And for me, my big hang-ups from that life, way back when, near the end of the Assyrian Empire, was that I felt deeply rejected. I felt like I had to serve a purpose. I had to live up to high expectations. I felt like I fell short of that. Felt like I was dumb, that everything I did was bad and stupid. And that kind of just carried over into my life as Beethoven, where I was raised by the same heavy-handed parent who this time, really, really leaned in on abuse, because he right away learned that he was pretty much not a great musician, and he was not gonna And then eventually he found out he was not going to get the position that he was hoping for when his dad passed. So that kind of just led to a more severe upbringing in a way, because now it was very personal. It was very personal. And but it he was so full of like ego. And ego is like a negative shell. It's like a shadow. It's like a covering. And the light gets trapped inside of that. So when you have ego, it discolors your perception of everything. So he had a lot of like negative, perception of on me. And in some way he wanted to shape me to be who he wanted to be. Somebody that was successful and prodigious and gifted, all the whole thing, the whole shebang. It was kind of similar. It's like in his other life when he was a king, he learned that he could not go to battle, but he also learned that it was better that way, that he didn't go to battle. His health wasn't the best. He wasn't the most graceful person. Um, so then he learned that he was better just kept in the administrative purpose and not be sent to war. Well, he raised me up to be what he hoped to have been, in a way. Like, he wanted to be this big and mighty person. Kind of turns everything into like this weird, creepy monster when a parent who has a lot of anger, like resentment, jealousy, even hate, raises their kid to be the thing that they couldn't be. It creates a monster. So I embodied somebody else's attitudes, his perceptions, and I would like to write a book about it. I think the best way to do it is to just surround it with, is just to pick music and then to reference what I felt in relation to the music, because music and me, that we're pretty much tied together. It flowed through my consciousness, so it's pretty much there. It's just something I have to tap into. And I decided that I was going to consider that what Anton Schindler said may be true. In some regard, like, he tended to exaggerate things, but I've also been the kind of person that lacked self-awareness. So I realized that I very much used the piano as a form of therapy. And I would play the music and the tones, the act of doing music helped me to feel better. And it's because it allowed me to really just let go of the things that I couldn't control. And it would bring me into the moment. A lot of it changed when I lost my hearing, or when I was in the process of losing it. It didn't happen right away. So it's like, but it became more and more noticeable and more disruptive, and it was devastating because I based my entire self on what my dad wanted me to be. And he wanted me to be this famous prodigy like Mozart, but I was never gonna be Mozart because we don't process information the same way. He and I process information differently. For me, it's emotional. Like, I do a lot more through the emotional faculties than what he was doing. He was a little bit more like left brain, and the emotional part overwhelmed him. So with me, I was overwhelmed in a different way. And it's like the way we coped with it was a little different. But for me, it kind of triggered a previous existence where I had similar self-destructive habits, except I didn't have the privilege of being a noble or a royal in one of my past lives. So I didn't have that. I was just a common person. And a common person feeling things that came from a different life. And people in this world, they have experiences where they realize if they said what they think and feel just out in the open, people would treat them like they're insane. Like, we lived multiple lifetimes, and we carry baggage from those lifetimes. So, handling my feelings of rejection, I realized a lot of it came from my life as Beethoven because I was really awkward as a person. I didn't get a whole lot of social interaction. And part of it was because I either had to be, playing a keyboard instrument, studying music in some way, um, schooling when I did go to school, or, it's just my life was so restricted. My world was so compacted together that I didn't really interact much with people at all, and I didn't care to because I didn't feel the connection with people. I very much just liked being in my own head because then I got to dissociate from reality. If somebody asked me, well, what are you looking at over there? And I'm just staring off into space, I didn't tell them straight up what I was looking at because people would think I was sick in the head or something. And it's like, well, I remember my mom in that life telling me to be careful what I say to people. It's like, don't tell them that you could see things. Don't tell them that you could hear things. And everything had to be a secret. It's like if, I don't know, it was just weird. It's like I tried so hard to be something that I was never meant to be. And yet I worked so doggedly at everything that I thought, like this was my only purpose. Like at that lifetime, just music. That was my only purpose. And then the reason why I chased after people, like, the articles are out there, it says everything, but the reason is, one, wanting to be in connection with a mother figure, two, being in connection with somebody that reminded me of another mother figure, three, because I wanted to set myself up to be hurt. And I wanted to reinforce that I was afraid of getting into a relationship with other people. Like, I had a lot of, like, weird head games going on that it was a good thing that I remained single because nobody was going to be happy if they got in a marriage with me. Like, I was not well up here. So it was just nothing but head games. So when I did go completely deaf, there was no way to drown it out. It became front and center. So when there was a comment saying that I was ugly and half mad, I'm like, yeah, I was half mad because there was a lot going on here. And I can recognize that from time to time when I experience rejection is it triggers a cycle or a loop or a program. And in order to get better, you have to understand what's the trigger, what the program is, and then you gotta deprogram the program so it's not in there anymore. My friend Alora teaches that. Uh, Spiritual mentoring, coaching, and like I've done 3 different sessions with her, I think. So I've learned how to do that with myself, but sometimes I need help. And I've learned that what I really wanted was a father figure. And now I'm in this standpoint where it's like, I really want a mother figure. Because I come to realize that the way I coped with things, I just shoved things deep down and buried them. And I didn't want to look at them because I didn't know how to handle it, how to process it. You know, there were times where I felt rejected by my mom. There was something that I remembered in my life as Beethoven when I was growing up. And it really made me feel out of place. Like I felt like I was rejected by my family. I looked a little different, than my siblings, and then and I was singled out for some reason. And it was just because I was the second born, but officially the eldest child, because the first one didn't make it. It was so weird how life just reflected another lifetime. I almost thought I got them confused together, but no, it was all karma. It played out very much the same at different points because it was karma. It was all karmic. So it's like, okay, I inherited the name that, after the grandfather, and it was like I grew up being treated differently, being pushed to be so good at a certain thing but nothing else. And it like it consumed my entire consciousness. It's like I couldn't function. It's like if I have to do anything beyond the one narrow point of focus, it doesn't work. But I noticed that just because I have different past life experiences, I have these little catalogs that I can tap into. And everything else is like nebulous. It's like if I didn't learn about it in a different life, if it wasn't such a big part of my life in a different life, then I didn't really connect with it. It's like, but there were things that I still struggled with. Like, I'm poorly coordinated, prone to tripping over my feet, prone to tipping one way or the other, prone to stumbling down the stairs if I don't, very deliberately be careful walking down the stairs. Like, I have coordination issues. And there were, I had an affinity. Well, I still do. I still have an affinity for canes, walking canes. But I just didn't buy myself one because it's like, it's an extra thing that I would have to carry. I like hats. And sometimes I find the hats are a little too small for my head. But I'm glad there's so many different sizes. And then I can get a hat that fits. Which is great. At least my head's not forever expanding. Which is nice. And I like round glasses, even though these ones are, rectangular. It's like, oh, I had round glasses in my life as Beethoven. It's like, oh, no wonder I like round glasses. And it's like, but it's the issue of rejection was a tricky thing. Yeah, it's like I'm wandering around. I don't know why I'm wandering around. It's like, why am I meandering? I get to wondering. It's almost like I'm supposed to be talking about something else now. I don't know. I could be just tired and sleep deprived. My sleep cycle has been interrupted a lot because of the job. So it's kind of nice that I'm not working now that I've been fired. So and I want to get back into piano. Like I actually do have some books. So I got a bunch of these because I just want to be able to like get back into like remembering how to like read the music and how to get to different parts of the music and stuff and comprehending how that happens. I know I'm being very vague, but for whatever reason I feel like I'm in a nebula. Don't know why. I got this scale system by Carl Flesch, because scales are important, and it's just so you can get it under your fingers. Some people don't need it. Like some people just get by without really needing, much of anything. They just read the music and learn from the music that they play. But I feel like with the kind of person that I am naturally, is that it has to be a blend of like technical books and actual music, because there are things that technical books can give you that a song doesn't give you. Like it gives you a visual representation of a certain thing that your hands have trouble doing, and then it gives you a chance to just isolate that. It's like being an athlete. Sometimes you're gonna have to isolate something to address what's going on, work it out, then combine it together with everything else. It's just part of the process, and everybody's got a different process, so the formula won't be the same for everybody. But it's a weird state that I'm in, because I feel like I'm remembering so much more as to why that life was so difficult. I got to remembering why my behavior was so extreme, my thinking, my mood swings. And then I got to remembering how abusive my dad was to his wife, to my mom. And then I came to realize that a lot of his issue, his beef imprinted upon me. Like I would become other people because I'm just ethereal like that. And it's like I have to like do a little bit of a better job just having the integrity factor there, but I mold and mix with other people because it helps other people to be comfortable with me. And so when I get rejected, it hurts. It hurts because it's just like I just want people to feel like their existence matters. Like, yeah, it's like nobody deserves to feel like they're just a waste of space. It shouldn't be like that. And it's 28 minutes into the video. Should I just end it? It's so very awkward. I know that earlier today I was kind of just laying in bed being mopey. It's like there's so much that I could look into, but it's taken me to like a weird spot. Cause like I feel like a part of me is dissociated, and the rest of me is just tired. Like I am tired. But yeah, I feel like most of it is just a mishmash of things. And a big part of it actually is dissociation. It's like it's real uncomfortable to just look at the thing that's causing you grief, because it reminds you of like the extreme negatives, or the negative times. Some people go real extreme into the darkness when something doesn't feel right here or here. And for me, it's like the issue around rejection. Like, it doesn't hurt as much as it used to, but I know I still feel this tendency to just completely withdraw. And I've erased some posts that I made in the Facebook group because for whatever reason, I don't feel like I belong there at times. Like if I make a post, I feel like it chases people away, like they don't want to interact anymore. And it hurts. Now that I'm tapping back into the thing that I was dissociating from, now I'm actually here again. I'm in the moment again. You know, it's like, just observe me. Like, because you can do it too. Like, if you feel yourself dissociating and just unplugging from reality, plug back in, sit in the feelings, and just be an observer. You know, just observe what they are. It doesn't feel good. Because it's like beginning to remember all the things that people thought of me, the attitudes about the way I looked, how I sounded, my social skills, like everything about me. I only had a handful of good friends because so many people just want to look at the surface, as I was saying way long ago in this video. It's only 30 minutes, almost 30. Oh, it's 30, almost 31 minutes, 32 minutes. I'm stumbling. But it's like, people are not supposed to live from the surface. You know, you get a real depth of being when you're within yourself. And it just, even though sometimes it feels a bit overwhelming, it's not a bad thing. It's about knowing how to balance it. And my friend teaches that. She teaches how to balance things out. You're supposed to be able to take the duality and then just blend it together. People don't quite understand what it means because there's so much involved. There's several different keys to enlightenment. You know, so much of this world could be made better if people were just connected to the light of the divine. Like, we don't have to live in suffering, but people, for whatever reason, don't want to address what's inside themselves. It's not. Maybe it's more fun for them to just be a blue pill. They don't want to be a red pill and feel like they're in danger. And speaking of blue pills and red pills, I was talking to one of the guys at work about the Matrix, and he said, "Oh no, I refuse to watch anything dystopian." And I'm like, "Well, it's more fun in action than it is, you know, like dystopia." It's like, yeah, it's like some of it is like, like, yeah, dystopia, but it's like it's all about fighting and kicking butt, really. But the metaphor is still there. How we're all just plugged in and we're being drained by a bunch of parasites that don't even have a connection to source. It's like, don't feed the parasites. You know, anytime you can choose misery or, or positivity, it's like, try to get yourself to be more into positive, because then at least the parasites that are off in misery land cannot tap into you so easily. It's like just be mindful of what kind of energy you're carrying. Take care of yourself. You know, I'd learned from my mistakes. There's plenty of people that will write about it. That's kind of the silly thing. It's like, oh well, I was kind of like a celebrity in a past life, and there's a lot of writings about me, and people kind of have like a one-sided story about who I am as a person. They don't know what's going on in my head, but it's kind of funny that they write all these things. And it's funny that they give lectures. They give lectures on the music. They do it from a very technical standpoint, but they're missing like the core of who I was and why I wrote the music. And sometimes I was a little bit too much into politics. Sometimes I was a little too much one way or the other. It's like I was a product of the time. Like I wasn't spiritually awake, and I rejected parts of myself that didn't quite fit in, but I've also did a whole lot to not fit in at all. It's like, do I really want to walk around with a powdered wig? It's like, no. It's like if my hair was just like a rat's nest, then that's what it is. It's a rat's nest. Sometimes depression does that to you. You don't even bother taking care of what you look like up here. So yeah, it did not look good. It was all matted together too. It's like, uh, but yeah, I was very depressed in that life. Is even when I smiled, even when I was laughing, underneath that there was depression. Behind my eyes, there was trauma. It's like let's just heal from all that. Let's just go. Let's fix things before the planet decides to crumble a bit too much. It's like let's just start creating positive and transformative experiences. We don't all have to carry that hurt forever. Get to know yourself and then meet different people. And if they become your friend, a real friend, a true friend, not a fake friend, then that's a gift. Any true friend that you can make, somebody that's absolutely true and for real, and they're in your life and they enhance it rather than degrade it, that is a real blessing. Cherish those people and make good memories with them. And don't do what I did, which is, self-isolate and then sink into extreme alcoholism and then cause problems for everyone around me and especially myself. Yeah, don't do that. So I learned from Beethoven. Just don't do what Beethoven did. There's a lot of examples there. So have a good night. I'm hoping this video uploads. And if you watched it for this long, insert some music notes into the comment section. And it's probably only going to be one person that does it, but that's okay. Bye.